So yesterday, the President Bola Tinubu made a nationwide broadcast declaring a state of emergency in Rivers State. In the same vein, Tinubu suspended the governor of Rivers State, Fubara, his deputy Ngozi Odo, and all the elected officials in Rivers State. Tinubu appointed a military administrator to oversee the affairs of Rivers State for the next 6 months. There have been so many opinions on social media regarding this move by Bola Tinubu. Now the question that most Nigerians are asking is, does the president have the right to declare a state of emergency in Nigeria? Does the governor have the right to remove an elected official from office? Let's dive into the video and provide answers and analysis as to the unfolding event. The first question is if the president has the power to declare a state of emergency in any part of Nigeria. The answer is yes. The president of Nigeria has the constitutional power to declare a state of emergency. Now, this is contained in the section 305 of the 1999 Constitution as amended. However, this power is subject to certain conditions and must follow legal process. The president can declare a state of emergency if the country is at war, if the country is under imminent danger of invasion or external aggression, if there is a breakdown of public order and safety in a way that demands emergency measures, if there is a clear and present danger exists to Nigerian sovereignty or territorial integrity, if there is an occurrence of natural disaster or other emergency, if the president receives a request from a state governor and the situation in that state requires emergency intervention. This is how the president will declare the state of emergency. The president will issue an official proclamation declaring a state of emergency, just like he did yesterday. Again, the National Assembly must approve the declaration within 2 days if in session, or 10 days if not in session. If the declaration of the president is approved, the emergency rule can last for 6 months but may be extended by the National Assembly. This is not the first time the president is declaring a state of emergency in Nigeria. In 2004, former President Olusegun Obasanjo declared a state of emergency in Plateau State due to ethnic and religious violence. In 2006, former President Olusegun Obasanjo also declared a state of emergency due to political crisis in Ekiti State. In 2013, former President Olusegun Obasanjo declared a state of emergency due to Boko Haram insurgents in Adamawa, Borno, and Yobe states. So you can see that this is not the first time. So Tinubu has the right to declare a state of emergency in any part of the country if there are perceived danger, disturbance of public peace, breakdown of law and order, imminent attack in Nigeria. He has a right to do that. And you've equally seen that former President Olusegun Obasanjo and Goodluck Ebele Jonathan did the same thing. But however, the case of Rivers State is totally different because there has been no breakdown of law and order in Rivers State. There is no act of violence in Rivers State. People are going about their normal business in Rivers State. What we are having in Rivers State is just mere political crisis. And of course, the president cited the bombing of oil pipeline and imminent threats that has been issued by militants within that region as one of the reasons why he declared a state of emergency in Rivers State. Again, the most talked about and controversial issue right now is the removal of Fubara and his deputy Ngozi Odo and all the elected officials in Rivers State by Bola Tinubu. Many people are in support of it. They are citing what Olusegun Obasanjo did, and many people are against it, that the president does not have the constitutional right to remove an elected official. What does the Nigerian constitution say regarding the president removing elected officials in the state? Now let us go back to the cases and the states I mentioned earlier, where former President Olusegun Obasanjo and Goodluck Ebele Jonathan declared a state of emergency. What happened to the governors in that state? In Plateau State, the governor Joshua Dariye, who was a PDP governor, was suspended by President Olusegun Obasanjo due to the escalating ethno-religious violence in that state. Obasanjo appointed a retired military officer, Major General Chris Ali, as a sole administrator to run the state. The State House of Assembly was also dissolved effectively placing Plateau State under direct federal control. After 6 months, democratic governance was restored and Dariye resumed his position as governor. In Ekiti State, it was a case of political instability and allegations of gross misconduct against Governor Ayo Fayose. Fayose and his deputy were impeached by the Ekiti State House of Assembly. This led to political instability in Ekiti State, and Obasanjo moved in and declared a state of emergency. In Adamawa, Borno, and the Yobe State, where President Goodluck Ebele Jonathan declared a state of emergency due to the Boko Haram insurgency, but he did not remove the governors. The 3 governors, Murtala Nyako of Adamawa State, Kashim Shettima of Borno State, and Ibrahim Gaidam of Yobe State, remained in office. None of the elected officials were removed from office by Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. They all maintained their position, but the military moved in and took over the state. Now, there are a lot of opinions on social media regarding what Bola Ahmed Tinubu did, and the supporters of Bola Ahmed Tinubu are supporting him for removing Similaye Fubara from office. They are saying that he acted in line with the law. They are clearly citing what Olusegun Obasanjo did in Plateau State with Joshua Dariye. Joshua Dariye did not challenge his suspension by Olusegun Obasanjo in court. He was calm, he remained politically relevant in his state, and he was reinstated back after 6 months. The bigger question now we need to answer is, does Tinubu have the right to suspend elected officials in the state? The law is in total support of Bola Ahmed Tinubu declaring a state of emergency in Rivers State if there is complete breakdown of law and order, if there is crisis in the state, if there is an emergency situation in the state, if the governor asks him to declare a state of emergency in the state. But what does the law say regarding Bola Ahmed Tinubu removing Similaye Fubara, his deputy Ngozi Odo, and all the elected officials in the state? The answer to that question is a capital no. The president of Nigeria does not have the constitutional right to remove elected officials such as state governors, deputy governors, or lawmakers. The 1999 Constitution, as amended, outlines specific legal processes for removing elected officials, and the president does not in any way fall in these processes. These are ways elected officials can be removed in office. A state governor or deputy governor can only be removed through impeachment by the State House of Assembly, as stated in Section 188 of the Constitution. The process requires a 2/3 majority of the House and must follow strict legal procedures. The president has no direct power to remove a governor, but may influence the process indirectly, example, through party politics or security agencies. How about the lawmakers, just like he did in the State House of Assembly? They can be removed from office through a recall process initiated by their constituents, and this is contained in Section 69 and Section 110. Lawmakers can be impeached by fellow lawmakers in the case of misconduct, example, the Senate President or the Speaker. Court orders or election tribunal can also initiate the removal of lawmaker if found guilty of electoral fraud. In 2005, Senate President Adolphus Fubara was forced to resign over a bribery scandal, but he was not removed by the president. The Supreme Court has once ruled that the president has no constitutional right to remove elected officials from office, and when the Supreme Court gives a ruling, it serves as precedent and also as a constitution in Nigeria. In 2006, the then President Olusegun Obasanjo attempted to remove Vice President Atiku Abubakar from office after he defected from the People's Democratic Party (PDP) to the Action Congress (AC). The president declared Atiku's seat vacant and directed that he should no longer be recognized as the vice president. Atiku Abubakar challenged this action in court, arguing that the president had no constitutional power to remove him from office. What did the Supreme Court rule in this case? The Supreme Court ruled in favor of Atiku Abubakar, stating that the president does not have the power to remove an elected official, including a governor or a vice president. Only the legislature, the National Assembly or State House of Assembly, and the judiciary have the constitutional power to remove an elected official through impeachment or court rulings. The Supreme Court states that the Constitution is supreme, and any attempt to remove an elected official outside its provision is unconstitutional. You might be saying, yes, it's Atiku Abubakar. Atiku Abubakar and Olusegun Obasanjo are all seen as elected officials. Now, since there was no case in court regarding a governor or a lawmaker, this ruling indirectly applies to state governors, because just as the president cannot remove the vice president, they also cannot remove a governor that was elected by the people. Governors can only be removed through impeachment by the State House of Assembly or a court ruling. The Supreme Court ruling in 2015 between Atiku Abubakar and Olusegun Obasanjo served as a legal precedent that strengthened the doctrine of separation of powers and the autonomy of elected officials in Nigeria. By removing Similaye Fubara, his deputy Ngozi Odo, and all the elected officials in Rivers State, Tinubu has exercised a power that he does not have. He has acted outside the constitution, and this is a clear violation of the Nigerian constitution. This is a treasonable offense. Regarding the state of emergency he declared in Rivers State, why is he declaring a state of emergency in Rivers State? The political crisis in Rivers State has not in any way stopped businesses in Rivers State. It has not in any way led to breakdown of law and order. It has not in any way threatened the sovereignty of Nigeria. It has not in any way escalated to killing and bloodbath. Tinubu's action is political. It shows that he has a vested interest in Rivers State. We all know the originator of this crisis in Rivers State. Rather than holding the person that is causing the problem in Rivers State accountable, the president has chosen to remove an elected governor, a governor that was elected by the people. This is a sharp contrast of the 1999 constitution. Tinubu has committed an impeachable offense. Tinubu has committed treason. Tinubu has violated the Nigerian constitution. We expect Fubara to challenge this in court, but as it stands now, he's being held hostage in the government house by the military men that's taking over the government house. What is happening? Like I said earlier, any state of emergency needs to be ratified by the National Assembly. We expect the National Assembly to rescind this state of emergency that has been declared by the president. But you and I all know that the Godswill Akpabio-led National Assembly will not rescind this decision of the president. They will act in line with the president. If this is allowed to stand, it is going to serve as a litmus test. It means that the president is going to wake up any day and decide to declare state of emergency in any state in Nigeria if he has a vested interest in that state. And of course, the president has a vested interest in Rivers State. The president needs Rivers State for his re-election in 2027. This is the reason for all this political crisis. You can all see that these politicians do not care about the people. All they care about is their election. All they care about is their own selfish interest. As normal, I expect Nigerians to fold their hands and watch, and they will allow this to become the order of the day. The president will wake up one day and have the supreme power to remove elected officials from office. That President Olusegun Obasanjo did it does not make it right, and that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has done is not the right thing. As Nigerians, we must all learn to speak when things are not going the right way. We must all learn to condemn evil in our land, because the evil we don't condemn will come up to haunt us. By the way, I expect the governors to all rise up in solidarity, irrespective of party affiliation, to condemn this act by the president, because if they don't do that, it might be their turn tomorrow. Thank you for watching. I will see you in the next video.